All right, year 12. So now that you've looked through those videos previously on declining balance depreciation, let's just quickly jump into this example before you get on with the work for today's lesson. So here we have Kevin bought a camp trailer for $34,500 with an expected depreciation rate of 18% per annum. If I'm sitting in the HSC and this was the question that's popped up here, apart from the fact it says use the declining balance formula, this idea that it's given me 18% per annum and doesn't say anything else, that would be the clue that I'm using my declining balance method. So it says use the declining balance method to find the value after 1 year and after 5 years. So all we're going to do that is just plug it straight into our formula. So here you can see I've already got those values plugged into our formula. So for part 1, where it's 1 year, all we've done is we've made our n to the power of n1 for one time period, 34,500 outside that, plug and play on our calculator, and we get $28,290. So we can see it's lost a little bit of value there. It's because it's one period, it's lost exactly 18% of its value. For part 2, it asks how much is it worth after 5 years. Again, all we're doing there for 5 years is now changing our n to equals 5, plug that on our calculator, and when we do that, we get $12,790.52. So what that is meaning, if I was to have a kind of a quick graph, initially it's up here, has some value at 34,500, and slowly over time it's going to curve like this, and it's going to continue to get close to that $0. It's going to slowly decrease. That's the declining balance. That's what the picture will look like. Part B, total depreciation after 5 years. Well, the total depreciation is just its cost, 34,500, minus our answer to part 2. How much is it worth after 5 years? And when we take away those two values from each other, we can see that this caravan or this camper has lost $21,709.48 in value when we round it to 2 decimal places. So those first two parts of the questions, part A and B, that's just a matter of identifying the parts in our formula, substituting into our formula, and particularly part B, using a previous answer, using our previous answer to find the depreciation over a given amount of time. Part C is the interesting one. Part C asks after how many years. So that means we don't know the value of n in our formula. And in the standard course, the only way that we can solve questions like this is to use guess and check method. So guess and check method, you must show a minimum of 3 guesses to show that it's valid working out. You might accidentally guess it correct on the first go, quickly just add 2 more in, and you're off and running. Likelihood you guess it on the first go is pretty low. So yeah, but it's important that 3 is the standard for showing our working out. So with this question here, I'm going to use some ideas, what we've done previously. Well, after 5 years, it's lost $20,000. I'm going to keep losing 18%. So my first guess, I'm thinking 10. 10 might be a nice number to guess. So I'm going to guess that n equals 10. So now in my calculator, all I'm going to do is change my power to the power of 10, press equals. And when I press equals, we get $4,741.95. And that's too high. All right? That's way too high. So it needs to be a longer period again. Now 12,000 down to 4,000. That was an 8,000 drop over those 5 years. So let's go another 5 years. So let's guess 15. I'm thinking 15 is probably going to get us pretty close now. Again, changing n in the formula, changing this value here to 15 now, and that value there to 15 now, and then pressing equals on our calculator. And when we do that, we get $1,758 and something. That's still too high. So n equals 15 is too high. Let's try n equals 20. And again, now all I'm going to do is change the value of n there to 20. Type that in with n now being 20, and when I press equals on that, I get $651. So now straight away I know that my value is somewhere between 15 and 20. Let's try something that's about halfway. Let's try n equals 17. So when I plug again, now I'm changing this 20. I'm now going to change the 20 to the value of 17. And when I do that, I get the value of $1,182.10, which is too high, but it's only fractionally too high. So let's check n equals 18. Remembering this question said after how many years. So I'm not looking for decimals, I'm looking for full years here. So when I check n equals 18, again changing that power to 18, I get $969.32, which was too low. But from here, I can see my answer. After 17 full years and before 18 full years, in between those two numbers, that's when the value first dips below 1,000. So here I'm going to say, therefore, after 18 full years, it is approximately $1,000. So it's taken 18. Again, what's important with this, minimum 3 guesses. You can see after each guess, I wrote down what the solution was from my formula, and I wrote a statement: too high, too low. My method was I looked back to a previous answer. 5 years, went double 10. Still too high, went 15. Still too high, went 20. Once I started to narrow it down between 15 and 20, I picked something that's about halfway between that. And that's how I personally would solve these. Once I get somewhere, once I start to find the range that it's in, I always kind of go, well, it's about halfway. And then I can go half of whatever boundary it is again until I arrive at my final solution. Okay. Today, for the rest of the lesson, you're going to work on exercise 107, questions 1, 4, 7, 10, 11, and 12. Once you've done that, there's some past HSC questions that I want you to work on. With those past HSC questions, question 11 from the 2020 HSC and question 27 from the 22 HSC, students had some difficulties answering those questions over those years. For some reason, they seem to be difficult questions. So there's a couple of video solutions for you as well. All right, thank you, 12.